Number 3, his children know him as a generous and fair-minded person. His children know him as a fair-minded person, a generous person. Verse 17, but when he came to himself, he said, how many of my father's hired servants have bread enough and to spare, and I perish with hunger? Very interesting. In a faraway country, and at the lowest point of the son's life, he remembered his father. When life was dark, when his decision had crashed, when he discovered he had made a fool of himself, he remembered his father. And he remembered his father's house. And he remembered the home he had left behind. And what did he remember about his father? This is so important. What he remembered about his father would determine the next step he would take. And the son remembered how his father treated people. That's what he remembered. He remembered how his father treated people. His father's heart, the generosity of his father. He remembered that even the servants of his father were well treated. What if he had remembered how tough his father was, how wicked his father was, how unbending his father was? He would still have remained in the foreign land. But when he remembered his father, he said, oh boy, what a father I had. Even the servants ate well at his table. People who were nobodies, he made somebody. People who were down, he lifted up. His son remembered him at his lowest point. Even the rebellious child at his lowest point will remember his father. But what will they remember? For each father of us, what do your children, or what will your children remember about you? When they are grown and they are in trouble, when they travel and they are living in China, they are living in Korea, they are living in Australia, they are living in New Zealand, they are living in a faraway country, what do they remember about you? Do they remember how well you treat people? Or how stingy you are? How hard you are? How unbending you are? How unforgiving you are? How angry you can become? What do they remember? Because what they remember about you will determine the next step they take, whether to go further into trouble or come back home. And this son, at the lowest point of his life, remembered his father. And what I like about what he remembered about his father is how he treated his servants. How his father treated the lowest people in the society. And that spoke to him. It means that for us fathers, our children are watching our relationships. They are watching how we relate to people, how we treat people. Because one day, they will remember. And that memory will determine the next step of their life. The fourth thing about this good-hearted father is that his children know they can go back to him even if they make mistakes. Verse 18 and 19. I will arise and go to my father, and will say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before you. I'm no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants. He knew that no matter how far away he had gone, no matter the disaster he had caused his father, he would still be received. Even not as a son, he will still be received as a servant. So for us fathers, do your children know that they can come back to you? Can they return? Can they come back to you? And I like the attitude of this son. He says, I know sonship is gone. I can't be a son. I've just squandered the opportunity. But I think servant in my father's house is still good. The child felt that even being a second best in his father's house was better than where he was. Can you imagine that? That this son felt that even if I am nothing in my father's house, it's still better than where I am. You know, there are children who leave their father's house and never want to go there again because that place has bad memories. They never want the relationship again. They never want to go back to their father again. Sadly, most of us have grown in a culture where fatherhood also connotes lack of emotion, lack of feeling, lack of empathy, and obstinacy. When the father says, "This is what I say," and nothing else, and can abandon their children in a bush for life. Sadly, sometimes it comes that way. But this son knew his father had a good heart. And he knew, I can go back home. Based on this, he decides to go back. If you are a father here and you have a son who's giving you heartache, and his life is, or your daughter, and their lives are really giving you a heartache, I pray that they will remember your good heart. That no matter how far they go, they will return to the good heart. And if you truly build a good home for them, they can't run from that home forever. They will come back home. And may your children come back home. May they return to where they used to be. So this son knew that he could go back in spite of the mistake, the horrible mistake he had made with his life. The fifth point. This father encourages his children when they take the right steps. The good-hearted father encourages his children when they take the right steps. Verse 20. And he arose and he came to his father. But when he was still a great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. It appears from the story that since the son left home, the father had been expecting him to return. He might have heard stories of how far his children or his son had fallen. Travelers from the town would bring report about his sinful life and wayward living. They will report about his wasteful habits. And soon enough, the father heard stories of the hardships his son found himself in. Then the stories turned ugly. The son was now eating from the rubbish dump. And all of this is happening. The father knows it. But he trusts the decision-making of his son. He's not going to rush the process. He wants the son to make the decision. He made the decision to go. He has to make the decision to come back. You can't force decisions. You have to allow people to get to their decision-making point. That's what he's waiting for. But whilst he's waiting, he always stands somewhere to look in expectation. Is he coming back? Is he going to come back? Then one day, he looked out and saw the son coming home. And the passage says that the son was still a way off. But the father got out from the house, ran towards his son, embraced him, and kissed him. He had a heart of encouragement. He is the father who encourages his children when they make the right decisions. Sometimes fathers don't know how to encourage their children. They feel encouraging children will spoil them. You have to be tough. You don't have to acknowledge that you're doing well. They do well in class, it's nothing. They pass the exam, it's nothing. They score a goal at the neighborhood soccer game, it's nothing. They are running in the school team, it's nothing. They play basketball in the school team, it's nothing. They've learned to play the guitar, it doesn't matter. Decisions are being made, steps are being made, but no encouragement. But this father had an encouraging heart. The son had not come home. He was away. He was still wondering, will I ever be accepted? And the father said, he has taken one step, I'm going to take another step to meet him halfway. And he ran close to his son and embraced him. I can imagine the awkwardness of that embrace. Because if you've been a bad boy and you are coming home and you see your father running to you, you can't tell what the run is about. Is he running to sack me? Is he running to push me away? Is he running to tell me, hey, don't come back home? The boy is wondering. And when the father raises his hand, is he going to hit me? And then he feels the embrace around him. And all of a sudden he knows it will be good. Because his father encouraged him. There is power in the encouragement of a father. Mothers encourage. Mothers can say 1,000 words of praise to a child, and they are meaningful. But one word of praise from the father is far more powerful. There's something about a father's encouragement and his words that allows children to soar and to rise and to do great things. Fathers, you have to encourage your children. And when they've messed up and they are coming back, encourage them. When they are taking the right steps, encourage them. This father had an encouraging heart.